Sir, my assignment given to me is evolve regulatory landscape for nutraceutical, ayurvedical and novel biological therapies. When I have started my lecture, I have mentioned very clearly when our joint director was mentioning that we have to bring innovation, science and regulators at one place. In fact, my journey starts from the 1990s, sir. I was actually joined as in ICMR as a scientist. But in 1990, the new recombinants have started emerging into the market. And India was lagging behind and how to develop or how to evaluate regulatory system for screening the recombinant products. Like this, the development of the things have happened at NIN, where the ICMR has given us the advanced center for which I have continued as a coordinator and led for 25 years and screened around 75 different molecules. I may just like to take you to, sir, these are the drugs of millennium in which the synthetic drugs pipeline is almost standardized. So there is not much requirement of the standardization required for the synthetic drug. Coming to the recombinants, it is definitely is taking a shape. Now we are many molecules which are in recombinant in nature. Now we are able to give the perfect guidelines for the innovators and all those things in which we can just put monoclonal antibodies, anti-cancer drugs and all those things. Now there is a one more arrow which is put as a GM foods. The GM foods you may not consider that it is a baby of a regulator, but it is going to be a baby of a regulator. Why? Because now GM foods are going to have certain type of nutritional substances, antibiotics and certain type of B complexes and all those things. Then you will be saying, sir, okay, it is a natural product, but not like that. It is going to be more than 2 RDA. Anything nutritional supplementation goes beyond 2 RDA, it becomes the baby of a regulator. So that is why we have to consider that GM foods are also going to be the part of regulations. Now coming to the Ayurvedic systems, you are all aware that how much of the money is being spent on specifically on ayurvedical, where Prime Minister and WHO has established a center in Jamnagar. This is only with a clear-cut idea that we have to validate our traditional system of medicine. To validate the traditional system of medicine, there is a hardship which doctors from Ayurveda or the regulators from Ayurveda may be facing a difficulty. In fact, I may like to recall here, for developing the guidelines of 158B, myself, Dr. Pradhan, and one person from Ayush department, Dr. Venkatadari, we all have struggled to make the guidelines, and these guidelines are which are available with you, which I may like to discuss. And there I can just tell you the synergy between the scientist and the regulator we can observe. Now coming to the nutraceuticals, sir, this is a totally new title which I am going to start it, and this we term it as regulators marketing authorization for innovative medicines, complex processes which involve a different type of procedures. But I am concentrating more on the stem cell and probiotics. What is a stem cell therapy? This stem cell therapy has become a real challenge. I cannot forget Dr. Somani, pharma drug controller. We all have sat and how to resolve this stem cell therapy. Because in stem cell, surgeon collects the stem cells from a person. He takes the stem cells and he grows in a test tube, and then he will re-inject the stem cells to autologous or heterologous system. Now the question comes, where is the role of a regulator here? Then we understood that the role of regulator is that once any system which you take do some process, then it becomes a part of regulatory system. So regulator has every right on the control of stem cell therapy. Now innovative therapies are coming. I am working and attached to some of the hospitals. What is the innovative type of therapies is that some physicians are taking out the pancreatic cells from the population and they are isolating the pancreas islets, and they are re-injecting the cells to the same person so that they can be prevented from the hypoglycemic shocks when they are taking any oral hypoglycemic tablet. So this is where the innovation has now started, and here we have to identify the role of a regulator, how he is going to regulate us, how we are going to work it out. There are some articles, there are some publications, there are marketing rights given by the US FDA, which I may be mentioning to you. This, I would like to recall the COVID again. In this COVID, the way in which the regulators, citizen stakeholdership, and everybody has worked, because otherwise we thought that world is closed and there will be a new world which is going to emerge, and it has definitely emerged. Then, to treat the COVID, what all attempts have been made. Why I am focusing this slide is very important is that there were nutraceuticals which have been given during the time of COVID treatment. Recombinants have been given during the COVID treatment. Then there were standard drugs which have been given into the COVID treatment. You are fully aware of that, how the Dolo and paracetamol has become powerful. Then the Ramsivir treatment. So all these things actually indicate that there is a multiple approach for treating any disease to combat it. So that is the most important lesson which we have to take it from this specific slide. Now, regulators, I need not tell how the regulations have emerged, but everybody thinks that we are very adopting the system from USA when our US FDA and all those things. Please remember this slide that it is the 1905, that means hardly century and quarter. The great American fraud has been reported, and this is a novel. And in this novel, up to 1986, the whole this thing have started. Then the book written by the Jungle, which is a leisure and casual attitude of the government US FDA, and citizens have brought to the notice, and this has led to the formation of certain regulations. Then on 15 July 1962, the story of thalidomide catastrophe, which is the most important, we declare that she is the lady Queen of FDA, which is from the France, and she is a Kesley, where she has discovered the reports of abnormal babies born during this thing. So this is the foundation of our regulation. Then please remember, we all have studied in our pharmacology book the name parcels. What does the parcel say? Parcel says that what is medicine? Medicine is nothing but it is the alteration of a dose. In 19th century, it was a mixture of empiricism of prayer. Inherited system is a trial and error. Then mystical theory is a worlds of pharmacopoeia. And this is the range of toxic substances. This range of toxic substances start with the digoxin to the water. Digoxin 0.0006 gram. If we take 6,000 gram of water, then it also leads to the adverse event. So everything we have to count by the alterations of this dosage. This is the process which I have to skip it here, where the non-regulated GLP, GCP, GMP have been regulated. All the efforts to the CDSCO, where they have standardized everything, and everything is on paper now. Now, what is the difference between a scientist and a physician and a regulator? A physician knows all there is to know. That means he knows that this is a capsule, this is a tablet of paracetamol I have to give. Physician will only write that. But scientist knows all those things, what are the gaps in the tablet. That is the difference between a physician and a scientist. He sees the masses of bronze. That means capsule बराबर है, अच्छे file में रखी हुई है, label है. That is what the physician see. But scientists see what are the gaps and the spaces in the specific tablet. Then the solid fact that establishes the statue, that is enough for the physician. But if I go, there will be invisible structures which are known only to the scientist. So we have to understand how does the scientist differ from the physician. Now, every doctor practices in the clinic his own empirical method. It is need not that he will go by the standard. There will be a standard prescription, but he alters the prescription. Now, every industry has to pass through this pass box. There is no escape if they want to do it. The pass box is that the pass box will be in ICMR being an apex body. It will come to IND or NDA or through the system where you have to answer all the questions of justification, supporting preclinical data, investigator side, ethical principles, regulatory requirements and monitoring system. If you pass, then you can get an answer. Then we will be starting. Now, I am just telling you how the things are now in the global situations. I have put this slide in front of you. You are able to see there is a tea powder which has been labeled as a anti-diabetic tea. What is that is antibiotic tea is containing? This antibiotic tea is containing a guiloli, dried amla, clove, ginger and turmeric. Now this is a very peculiar situation where I have to, how I should actually give, because the label is antibiotic tea. It comes under the Magic Remedy Act if you really see it. That means it should reduce the hyperglycemia and then the tea will be there. This is I am putting a Indian available market. Now I am putting one vitamin with the donuts. This is US FDA approved. That means the donuts are rich with vitamins. So where shall I place this product? Shall I put it in a nutraceutical? Shall I put it in a drugs? Or what is the rationale which we have to understand? So the Donut Corporation sought endorsement from Nutrition Division. They have not gone to US FDA, but you are using the synthetic vitamins. So how to just, this is the regulatory challenge for regulator also. And we many times we have a meeting in Delhi during with the drug inspectors as well as the committees. We never come across on one understanding, because pharma industry say it is a dosage form important for me, and if it is a dosage form then I will go and inspect. But we say when you are fortifying the samples with 3 or 4 times than the recommended RDA, then it becomes the baby of a drug controller. Then you please check it. So this challenge we have to really come, we have to harmonize the system, and these challenges we have to see. Now I am just putting the questions in front of you, whether it is a ayurvedical, whether it is a herbaceutical, whether it is a nutraceutical or whether it is a pharmaceutical. We have to decide and how to submit our application. Who certify? Then who validate? Who is going to ask the safety concern, and what is the market vigilance? Now that is why the guidelines have now emerged. Now if this slide, if you take very clearly, how the health food, supplements and drugs, the margin is very narrow. If I take you the regulatory wall, this is the regulatory wall. In this regulatory wall, supplements and herbs, they may pass under the drugs and herbs where the regulatory wall comes. And if I go on doing the concentration of the product, the regulatory wall appears. So increasing the profitability is the industry job. That is why they will be just going on concentrating, and they would like to make a potential therapeutic nutraceutical. But where to place? How to place? How the products are regulated in the market? What is the intended use? Not ingested, applied to the body is a cosmetic we are reviewing. Drugs used to treat a disease is a drug, to be very honest. But if you take intended use as a food, ingested supplement and a dietary supplement, but ingested affected structure of the functional body is a dietary supplement. That cannot be called as a drug. So that is how we will have to take about it. Now, how the FSSAI categorizes? We have the 8 categories. In the 8 categories, food or health supplement, nutraceuticals, food for special dietary purposes, that is called as a FSDU. Then FSDU for specific medical purposes. Most of the pharma rejected in clinical trials and all those things, this type of drugs are being submitted to for medical purposes under the non-specific food category. So many big companies are submitting their applications, but there we are also seeing that without the claims we cannot take them far. Then food added in a prebiotic ingredient and special food containing a plants and botanicals. Now this is the gazette which you should be aware of, is issued by the FSSAI, in which it is very clearly written that the regulatory status for the product should have the complete safety information if you are submitting your application for taking the license for FSSAI for any product which is having a therapeutic value. Now, here you can just see what are the toxicological evaluation. If you go to the NDCD right guideline, the same parameters which we have been co-opted into the FSSAI. So the same parameters we have put it here, which are mandatory requirement for us to sanction for any of the things. Now, many a time FBOs, they are asking us the different type of questions, CROs. But we are very clear why India has put the 15 years and 30 years other country requirement is that other countries like European countries, when we wanted to take a license in Europe for our formulation or nutraceutical or herbal formulation, they have put a question to us, you please produce a 30 years of data, though we are using traditionally, but they are asking a 30 years of data. So we have also implemented the same this thing where we should have the data on 30 years of clinical available data. Now I am just taking you to the ingredients which are actually there. If you see the schedule one is a nutrient where vitamin nutrient, but these should be only less than the 2 RDA, not more than 2 RDA. Recommended dietary intake, it should not be more than 2 RDA. Second is a plant or botanicals, that is based on the which type of botanicals you are using. Then molecules isolated other than schedule 2. Then prebiotics and probiotics are some of the requirements. Now, Indian nutraceutical market is in front of you, where you can just say market size is USD $1 billion. So that is why most of the products which go for the IND this thing and rejected, they are just coming to the nutraceutical, anticipating there will be a easy pathway, but it is not that. The here it is also the same pathway which the FDA approves, the same pathway we also approve. Now, I am just taking you a picture of IUCeuticals. In the IUCeuticals, these guidelines are very, very clearly been given, where 158B, under the 158B, you will be finding 3A, 3B and 3C. For example, 3A means where the drugs actually speaking been in the history of use, so there is no need for the evidences. If you are going to change the dosage form, and according to the company, you have to require the toxicology data, published data, proof of concept and everything. If you go to the C, that means 3A to be used for any indication which you are changing, then you should have a proof of concept. Then coming to the patent and proprietary items, they are all textual and rational. If it is a existing, then there is a requirement for all the experimental evidences as we require in NDCT rules. These are all related to IUCeuticals. Now, I am just sharing you one of experiments which we have done, because every time we think that herbals are very safe and all those things. I am just taking you, this is, I have quoted the formulation A, B, C, D, E. This is the WHO biennium clinical trial supposed to be taken place in 2002. The samples have been sent to us for doing the preclinical toxicology. If I show you the picture of this animal, then you will realize that we have done the study for 2 times, because it is also a health ministry and it has come from the government. So we have done the study 2 times. Whenever we used to feed the animal with a some 5 or 10x dose, the animal mortality used to be dose dependent and animals used to die. I can just show you the picture, but I will not be able to show you. That is on a dose dependent manner. That means in 1x dose, 10% animal used to die. In 5x dose, 60%. In 10x dose, animals used to be 80%. Then we asked the agency, sir, why the animals are dying? Herbal should be safe. But we had a suspicion that this death and the sign is that it is a ileoparalytic syndrome. That means once the drug is taken, the stomach expanded, and as a result, the animal cannot breathe and it used to die. We had a doubt that this is a spasmodic type of activity. There may be some cholinesterase activity. Then we contacted the Director General of Ayush. We said, sir, your drug is not passing through formulation A. Why? It is not passing because so many deaths are there. Then he came, he inquired, and after the inquiry, we came to know that, sir, the person who supplied the formulation from Chennai, their own institute, he has added, instead of 1 is to 2, 2 is to 1 formulation. That means two ingredients, A and B, they should be 1 is to 2. Instead of that, it has become 2 is to 1. That 2 was having a cholinergic activity. So GMP was compromised. So the result is in front of you, and the whole formulation has to be rejected. So please understand the preclinical safety and the why regulator is insisting specifically for this type of data is we have to really take it very seriously. Now I am just taking you to Ayurvedic bhasmas. That means herbo-mineral preparations. In these herbo-mineral preparations, when we used to take these herbo-mineral preparations and feed the animal used to show lot of morbidity conditions. And these are practical morbidity conditions. And these morbidities, when we have reported him, then we said, sir, this is your basma, you have not titrated the doses, you will have to titrate the doses. Then I can recall Dr. Lavekar is there, he came to NIN and he personally said why it is so. Then he says, sir, in Ayurveda there is a principle of Agni and Sheath, and there should be Agni Sheath should not be mixed. So we have to give something like with honey only. So Ayurvedic Bhasna has to be taken with honey only. Then we have done a 2% honey preparation and then we started giving to animal. Up to 3 months there were no problem. After 3 months we are able to see there is a bone marrow depression and all those things. This is how we have just mentioned that the titering of the dose, exposure of the animals to the herbal preparation so that we can optimize them. You see, we cannot reject any preparation, but we have to optimize them. Then we have done the quality testing, and you cannot believe me, this is the stool of the animal. You are able to see yellow color, stool and a urine. That means when we are doing an animal experimentation, we have to keep one filter paper under this. And when the morning when we go and watch the stool was totally dark yellow. Then the bhasma which we have tested was copper based bhasma. So this is a copper reaction which you are able to see this. So sir, please regulator also should understand when we are sitting in that IND committee. I can share some examples, but I have my own restriction. There, just they will be giving us the data, cut, paste, copy. That cut, paste, and that is how I have also learned inspecting the facilities. What do you mean by cut, paste, copy? One data of one company, they have projected a data, all animals were normal, there is no abnormality found. Do you know what was the drug? It was a anti-cancer drug. All data was normal, nothing is they think. Then we cross-checked it. When we cross-check it, the SGOT, SGPT values, which I am sharing with you, is that 232 animal number 1, 233 animal number 2, 230 animal number 4. How can a SGPT value with only 2 units change? It should be minimum for 20 to 30. It is a biology. It is a physiology. Animal to animal variations will be there. Human to human itself variation is there. That is why the range itself declared is 200 to 800. The CRO has given a report. Then we have gone through the report. Most important thing which you have to observe is that it is an anti-cancer drug. How can be all parameters normal? Anti-cancer drug itself causes lot of adverse reactions. You have to report as it is. We have rejected, it is a big company, still we remember, but I cannot disclose, sir, you are all my family members, so understand the government restrictions on us. This is the way. If the toxicology data is submitted to the regulator and finally the industry gets unhappy with the regulator rejecting on it, these are the practical findings which I am just put forward in front of you to understand. This is the monograph based on our dose titrations. The CCRA has published the monographs. Now I am taking to one small recombinant cell therapies. Sir, recombinant cell therapies, which I may first like to take DNA vaccine. This story is from 1999. I am also a pharmacologist. By mistake, I have worked served for National Institute of Nutrition as a nutritional pharmacologist. So I have some rare category of nutrition and some pharmacology. This project, actually speaking, government wanted Jai Vigyan program to be made successful. Believe me, this whole project is from IIC Bangalore. They developed a first DNA anti-rabies vaccine. And this DNA anti-rabies vaccine is upgraded in Indian Institute of Immunology in Hyderabad. Then they said that this has to go to the market. The market में जाने के लिए, then IND has put several questions. At that time, we had a very big understanding between the regulator and all those things, and we have taken the US FDA documentations and all. The issue here was that the DNA, how it acts, because we were also a new learners, and we were also a big, actually speaking, what is this biotechnologically developed molecule and how it reacts it in a very small dosage. So this vaccine, when we have done a testing, we have faced lot of difficulty by doing. Our animals were taken away, animal activists have done. This actually a normal dose range, if you find, this is the pre-exposure and this is the post-exposure. And if you see the anti-rabies vaccine, we have decided to take only 4, 7, 14, 28 as compared to conventional for 90 days. Then CRB, what we have done, combination of the existing vaccine, combination of the DNA innovative vaccine, then we have made it like this thing. The whole study, if you see, it has to be done in a monkey, because monkey is the specific model to test the DNA vaccine, or a mice. But here again, I may like to caution that the regulator has given a guideline in NDCT rule. He has given with after thorough documentation. Mice means mice only has to be tested. Rat means rat only has to be tested. Monkey means monkey has to be tested. Dog means dog has to be tested. But the problem with the regulatory, the industry is that they will come out with a data. Sir, rat में कर दिया 90 days का study, आप approval दे दीजिए. फिर से एक थैलेडामाइड की स्टोरी रिपीट हो जाएगी. हो चुकी है, because sir has given a silent feature, giant drug controller. This is what realitily it is happening. Regulator, when he is writing some guideline, he is writing with some sense. Then regulator say if it is a recombinant, it has to go through the RCGM to DBT, and it has to come to a regulator. Then only you can give a approval. Why it is to go to RCGM? Because in RCGM, biotechnologists are sitting, they will be screening how the batch is, how the potency is, how the toxins are present, whether there is no toxin. That is how the RCGM does its duty. Then at that time, the monkey was important. We were having only limited number of monkeys, but we have taken a yardstick and we have done the complete testing. In this study also, during this time, Shanta Biotech has introduced the first recombinant interferon. That is also being tested by us, and I was also one of the investigators in that. In that Shanta Biotech and product also, recombinant product, at that time we got the fresh monkeys. So fertility test was a question mark. That means, sir, don't think that we are only alone. Behind us, lot of activists are there. The activists have stopped it. You have you have done a study in young monkeys, not the adult monkeys. So fertility test is not passed. They have put a case on us. Then what we have to do? We have to bring a fertile monkey in a plane and we have to do the testing, sir. So I mean to say, The regulator also is facing a challenge. Scientist is also facing a challenge. The same way everyone is facing a challenge. I will share you how this recombinant DNA vaccine and how to take the calculation. Sir, these are all routine parameters. I may not like to spend here, but you have to see the most important, these mice. When we injected these DNA mice, the nasal hairs have lost. That means once they are lost, that means there is an allergic reaction. Is it allergic reaction because of DNA? We have to do lot of research on this. We have sent this here to US and to confirm whether it is a vaccine related loss. We came to know that every 10 years or 15 years, the animals will be always losing some hair. It is a routine this thing, but our hard luck is there. When we have given a DNA, this picture has come to us. So this animal number 32 to 40 animals, we all had a problem. Then we have resolved it after taking the complete test. I will take you to the monkey also. To the monkey study, you are able to see site of injection. All organs have been tested. We have killed only 5 to 6 monkeys. But in some monkeys where the 10x dose was given, are you able to see the round? In the round there is an arrow where the DNA vaccine was present. This DNA vaccine can translate into a malignancy. So that is why the vaccine which has been developed can lead to a malignancy. That is the second picture. During that time, such type of titrations and all values and technology was not available with us. But still, these technology, they have taken it and they have estimated based on the chromatogram that is present in a 1 nanogram. Any 1 nanogram protein, if it is left out on the site of injection, they cannot cause any toxicity. So that is how the DNA vaccine we have taken first time. We have presented in RCGM, then it went to the DCGI. Then in DCGI they have taken an approval. That is how we have taken the first DNA product into the market. This is the report. I am sharing you one more recombinant product. This is HPV, human papilloma virus. How this human papilloma virus to be tested? Because one of the companies has developed this virus, and this virus will be delivered through a salmonella. That means जो टाइफाइड में हम यूज करते हैं उस साल्मोनेला में एक इमिट करके these people have developed this vaccine. Now I have to do the preclinical toxicology. NDCT guideline doesn't say how to do this. NDCT guideline say the route which you are administered to the human being, the same route should be administered to the animals. But the issue is challenging because the vaccine HPV, if we give a salmonella to a mice or a rat, the salmonella get digested in the stomach, which our human being doesn't do, but mice and rat will do. Then how shall we that virus and the plug should go there? Then we have found out a route. The route is that we wanted to give it by the nasal route. So we anesthetize the animal. Then we introduce the HPV through the nasal route. Here the mucosal location happens. As a result, the HPV is absorbed and the antibodies can be generated in the mice. But how to convince a regulator? Regulator has to be convinced by giving the rational and giving the proper experimentation. These are the things which are innovative sciences. Now, this type of challenges are going to come more and more to the regulators because regulator has to get updated. I'm just sharing you one example. One of the hospitals, one of the organizations, what they are doing, they are isolating the pancreatic cells and they are re-injecting to the person who is suffering with diabetes so that the pancreas can get activated, and it is a fact through a portal vein. Shall drug regulator control it? That is the challenge for us. So we have to be prepared for this type of challenges, and you can just see the localization which we have to show to a regulator with evidence proof. 2 minutes, sir. No, I pay, sir. Sir, I have put this picture only to make you alert. A person who is going to the public toilet, and this picture actually is meant for some other cartoon. The cartoon says that what Prime Minister is doing wrong, why he is constructing a public toilet, it is a waste of money. but I have taken it for my purpose to explain why the safety is important. A person who is standing in a queue gets an option to go to the toilet. Once he enters into the toilet, he gets a phone call saying that there is no office or you got promoted. He will not go inside the toilet. He will compromise his physiology and he will be out. Who is the culprit? Mobile phone is the culprit. Shall I ban the mobile phone? I cannot ban the mobile phone. Therefore, I have to take a risk and benefit. Many a times we sit as a regulator, as a ethics committee member, and all those things. We have to see what is actually beneficial, what is not beneficial. The best example is banana. There is a fight between a banana and an apple. Every day, one apple is very good, keep you away from doctor. But five apples, if you take, you are close to a dental doctor, you will lose 0.2 mm of enamel. So banana is the best. Why banana is the best? This is the banana is 4 times protein, twice this thing, 3 times phosphorus, and 5 times vitamin A, and all those things are being described in banana. But clinical efficacy, who will prove? So we have to do clinical evaluations for any this thing for any regulator. So that is why today the regulatory science we is telling that benefits and risk have to be calculated. Without the benefit and risk, we cannot bring any this thing. And regulatory science is the most advancing science. Why it is shaking, sir? Regulatory science is the most advanced science which is underappreciated by everyone, specifically industry. But we will have to really take into consideration this. Now, the last slide, which I may just like to tell you that being an ICMR and Nutrition Institute person, I still believe that natural foods are always better than the pharmacy counter. So we will have to follow this. Thank you very much for the opportunity, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. He has a capacity of speaking any given topic for any hours also. May I request Sri A.R. Gahane, sir, Commissioner Maharashtra, as well as Sri Ahuja, sir, former drug controller of Haryana, to present a memento to Dr. Dinesh Kumarji. Please. Thank you, sir. We are going as per our schedule only. May I request now Sri Ranjit Barshikar, CEO, QBD International, advisor to United Nations. He will be delivering a lecture on artificial intelligence applications in pharmaceutical industry. Over to Dr. Ranjit Barshikar, please.
Dr. Koteshwar Rao is so particular. This is the third time he has reminded only 40 minutes. Hello. Dr. Saab, where is he? Koteshwar Rao. Ah, he's on. So, friends, let me congratulate and thank to Dr. Koteshwar Rao for organizing such a beautiful program. And with full dedication, you have been working, I know, for last more than a month. You have really stressed out to organize this program beautifully. So you deserve full compliments from everybody here. And also following discipline of timing. So I had this usual talk on AI. in last 2 years, this is a 33rd talk all over India. And in last 55 years of my pharma career, this is something very interesting to me. So I studied myself a lot for almost 3 to 4 years, and I'm guiding several universities as well as the industries how to comply with this concept of AI and where it can be used. So from that perspective, by this talk, which is usually between 75 to 90 minutes, I had to compress to 40 minutes now, which less than half time, which I will definitely take care of that. So this is my usual disclaimer. Industry has been suffering severely various pain points which industry has from commercial perspective. Increase in cost of input material, but output is not increased for various reasons. Delayed launches of the product because of several experimental failures, even quality of input materials, and product recalls and quality issues worldwide. And this is big taxing to the industry because a lot of recalls from the market is costing the industry. This affected US FDA also very badly, and European regulatory agencies have also been talking on this, that because of several recalls to the tune of 62% quality issues, the American citizens, European citizens are starving for good products. And therefore, the US FDA had taken the initiative how we can improve the quality of the products in pharmaceutical industry worldwide. And they introduced the concept of AI so that we have more efficient and automated process to reduce the time of manufacturing, data driven decisions, and predictive analytical tool. So everything is revolving around these 4 points when it is implemented in pharmaceutical industry. What we get out of that is effective quality and process monitoring. All the critical processes are monitored real time, not afterwards. Timely launch, cost savings obviously, and predictive quality analytics, which I am going to discuss more as we go ahead. We are aware this concept of Industry 4. I have seen the transition of pharma, rather Industry 3.0 to Industry 4.0, Pharma 4. Pharma 3.0 to Pharma 4.0 in last my 50 years journey of pharma industry. So when we talk of Pharma 4.0, we are talking of, you see that green box, predicting what is likely to go wrong during manufacturing and development of the product also. And that is also having a support of risk-based monitoring activity. And predictive analytics and predictive analysis is helping us to tell much in advance the quality of the product, which stage it is likely to create a problem while manufacturing. And therefore, this Pharma 4.0 concept has been accepted worldwide in a big way. Several companies have started implementing it very effectively to synchronize the digital and physical value system for realizing the quality and the production together from the reliability perspective of the quality, so that you have minimum product recalls from the market. So therefore now we are in the phase of transitioning to digitalization, from disconnected to moving towards paperless factories. So fully automated controls on monitoring all the critical quality attributes, critical process parameters, and end products obviously in real time. So there are AI applications in every department of the pharmaceutical industry, and right from commercial business perspective as well as technical perspective, right from drug discovery, R&D, clinical trials, quality, marketing, sales, supply chain, everywhere now it is being implemented. This is not a theory. It is really in implementation stage worldwide by several organizations, including India. In drug discovery, there are novel approaches for virtual screening of large number of chemical molecules for structures, chemical structure identification, which is done very fast than the normal manual operation in design and in drug screening as well. This is very interesting uh, innovation and discovery by scientists in US, MIT universities as well as few universities in Europe have invented more than 50 antibiotics with the help of AI, and which has a effectiveness to the tune of almost 97%, and it can also predict which is going to be the blockbuster molecule in time to come in the world. So one of such is halicin. Now the advantage we get here is it does not have any resistance from the body. Nowadays, whatever antibiotics are getting developed, we are seeing within 2 to 3 years, there is a resistance. So these antibiotics are getting more and more invented further. Those newer antibiotics are also getting affected. But these antibiotics developed by AI does not have any resistance so far in last more than 8 years. And all these 50 antibiotics which have been invented with the help of AI are under clinical studies. In clinical, it is improving the trial quality, reducing trial time by almost 50%. That's a big advantage. That is why you are able to launch much faster. Recruiting trial patients in minutes. Normally, recruiting patients takes several months. But this technology is helping us to recruit the volunteers within minutes after knowing data from various doctors and the history of those volunteers which is ready through the doctors. Cost savings and speed, no doubt, and it reads the books of even 1,000 pages in seconds, which is not possible to any human being to read. So this is a tremendous advantage of going through the data. And even in our factory life, we were not knowing till yesterday that billions of data points are generated because we were not at all aware. But now AI is reading each of those data points to take the right decision, accurate decision. Pharmacovigilance, similar activity in clinical trials. In manufacturing, it identifies the quality issues in advance, predict the bottleneck by knowing the critical process parameters, and proactively suggest the corrective action. This is also very interesting part of AI, that it guides the operators or managers or a technical team which are the suitable actions they should take. It may give 3 or 4 options, and also it says take particular option number 2. to be effective to minimize the problem or to remove the problem completely. And therefore, this alert to the staff is very, very important. And the batches which could have been rejected normally are not rejected now because it is fully going through the quality checks properly. Proactively identifies anomalies, compliance risks are prioritized and mitigated the risk, and it improves the operational efficiencies as well. Predictive analytics, predictive maintenance. What it means when we talk of predictive maintenance, all the equipments which are there in the plant are going through this system. If any equipment is likely to fail in another 4 weeks or 6 weeks time or 2 weeks time, it alerts the organization that particular equipment XYZ is likely to have a problem, take corrective measures as suggested. So look at this predictive maintenance also. So your downtime is almost zero in manufacturing. So productivity also goes high. Robotics, hands, is in also big use today. With the help of camera, it detects the during packaging line any defective units, tablet, capsule. For that example, in the warehouse as well as the secondary packaging lines, it reads perfectly all the information whether it is correct on each of the cards and whether any mismatch is there, and that is thrown out of the packing online or conveyor belt automatically. Same thing in the sterile manufacturing, vial filling, in quality control lab, in tertiary packaging online. There are several companies, as I told you, different technological tools of AI are being used today. AI, machine learning, robotic process automation is now in a big way being used by the companies. And in India also, where I was advisor to that company, almost top 5, they are using it very successfully. And this robotic process automation, I will explain to you as we go to the next slide. The several companies globally in India, Sun, Cipla, DRL, Lupin, Arbindo, Piramal, etc. More than 50 companies are now using this technology in an effective manner. Drug discovery to supply chain, quality monitoring, paperless plants with the help of RPA as well. Improved accuracy, regulatory compliance, and in advance, it tells the organization that everything as per regulatory compliance as well, because AI also knows CDS regulations, US FDA regulations, EU regulations as well. So on its own, it communicates that you are fully compliant to which country's regulations and cost reduction. And this RPA is very, very effective and in ensuring the data integrity compliance. Before lunch, Dr. Ranga was mentioning about data integrity problems in industry. Let me tell you, this problem was global, not only Indian industry. It was a global, there is a US FDA statement saying that this is a global problem and we are ensuring that all the corrections are being done by those countries, those who are interested to import in export to USA, and which has worked out very well in last almost 13-14 years now. And I'm very proud to say, Naveed bhai, that our companies are far better than multinational today in data integrity compliance. And this is because, no doubt, we have talent, very high level talent we have in India. We are supported strongly by our own IT industry. And there are 1,500 startups in India who are working on AI technology, supporting to the industry. And several our companies have tied up with startups to use multiple technologies for various purposes in the organization. So this has been a tremendous boon to us in India of IT industry. So data integrity compliance, we are much, much better, for which, because of which global companies have suffered badly by attracting the warning letters. Blockchain end-to-end process visibility. That is the biggest advantage we have, that we know that during supply chain, which includes also input supply and output till the last user, is fully monitored effectively. And that is always optimizing the inventory management, transportation capacity which is required also is identified in advance, knowing the batch sizes and packaging also. It also increases the forecast accuracy and minimizing the stock out situation in the organization. And that supply chain, due to the blockchain, it is highly secured, not easily, it cannot be hacked, because every block has a different information and each block connected to each other, the whole data of supplies. So that's a big advantage, and that is why we have proactive risk management. We are talking of risk assessment, risk management, risk mitigation. So now we are talking proactive approach towards the risk management and faster response times. It also helps in audits. And when you people also go, regulators, to the inspection, this tool also can be very useful to you if you implement. Dr. Ranga mentioned about US FDA implementing the AI tool that is called ELSA, ELSA. And the purpose of that is normal review time of US FDA for one file is to around 12 to 15 months manually. But now they are effectively able to completely review maximum in 30 days. That's a tremendous benefit to the industry. And that is why they are happy, and this is fully secured. ELSA is fully secured. It cannot be hacked by anybody, and no data from the US FDA office will go out. So secrecy of the document is also very important from industry perspective, companies perspective, and that also being taken by US FDA. AI driven audits, it guides the companies that which are the risk areas should be prioritized during internal audit. And it can also guide based on the rankings of the organization to the regulator that which are the likely problems in that company. But every time the thing is, the data has to be correctly fed to the system. Then only AI can take correct decisions. And therefore, it can ensure meeting regulatory requirements while maintaining high standards of patient safety and data integrity. There are several multinational organizations also worldwide, they are using it, more than 100. One such is Pfizer's Michigan facility, you see, is fully automated and operational this year for sterile injectable manufacturing, minimum human intervention, completely automated with the help of robotics. And This modular aseptic processing, it also helps to minimize the contaminations of the units during manufacturing, because human intervention is minimum, which is maximum contribution to foreign matter in the product. Highly digital, highly robotic plant, and therefore this MAP concept which FDA had, Pfizer had initiated is now fully ready 100%. Normally, I usually show the videos on this, but because of time, I had to remove it. The advanced capabilities for vial filling, sterile injectable products, as well as lyophilized product also very well monitored in that plant. In robotic process automation, we have during clean room operations, enable move the closed systems without human intervention, absolute control of sources of contaminants, minimum human intervention, as I discussed just now, and also in RABS system. It can also help in the isolators during manufacturing. And this was brought up by FDA themselves in one of the conferences in ISP, that reduction in risk to drug product through the use of automation and robotics are initiated and most welcome by US FDA. This one particular HoloLens is also in a big way used by the industry now, uh, from the perspective of seeing the manufacturing operation virtually. You don't have to be present inside the block. When you see this, you can be at a distance and you know what is happening inside. You can visualize everything 100% correctly. So also this is also in use in case any equipment failure is happening and your expert, subject matter expert is not present, then you can talk to that SME through HoloLens. That you don't have to wait for that person to come to your site and talk to you and do necessary changes in the equipment to make it in order. That person can guide you with the help of HoloLens. You are also using the HoloLens and you communicate so quickly and you maintain immediately correct the situation. Again, the downtime is minimum, which could have been several days normally. So Microsoft, and there are several more companies have also come out for this HoloLens to communicate without needing the engineer on site. And it can also be used uh, for training purpose by the industry. Therefore, Pharma 4.0, Quality 4.0, Manufacturing 4.0, and last month, ISPE has further come out with Validation 4.0, which is a big thing which is happening now in the industry, which with the help of several tools, robotics, cloud computing, data analytics, AI, blockchain, etc., for continuous manufacturing CM, AI, 3D printing, and process analytical technology. It is more than 2 decades old, PAT, and it is option. So nobody is taking it seriously. But slowly now, with the help of AI, people will start looking into PAT technology as well. So as a future now, you are moving towards smart manufacturing and smart controls at your manufacturing sites and also in testing areas. Earlier, we were into batch manufacturing. That time we had quality by testing. What it means? That we were completely manufacturing the batch and then we were testing. And then the release was based on that. Then started quality by design concept, ensuring quality is built into the process by R&D and it in the manufacturing as well. So all critical processes steps are being monitored by manual operations. Now we are into quality by control. I am not talking of quality control. Quality by control, that is quality by monitoring all the parameters fully in real time version, fully automated system. And therefore, we are now moving towards the smart manufacturing and testing activity. So, embracing the modernization need of the hour, if we have to speed up the launch, rather than following the leader, you could be leader in the market. Technology first approach is desired for this purpose, from treatment to prevention. And that transition is very important in the human's life, which everybody would like to ensure that we are into preventive mode. And I remember a decade ago when I visited Shanghai, some of the R&D centers I had visited, and I was amazed to see that their R&D centers were busy with addressing 5,000 different targets in human being from the perspective of ensuring we predict the disease in advance in the human being by studying their DNA structure. And the genome studies, they have been working to ensure that every human being will have some or the other disease. Rather than getting surprises, they know in advance at which age that person is likely to have which disease. And then you start taking medicine from that perspective to completely nullify the impact of that disease. So that was the thinking there behind them, and they are really much ahead from that perspective. And therefore, we have to shift our priorities to create smart factories in manufacturing R&D processes by digitization. And therefore, AI in pharma is paving way for safe and efficacious patient-centric medicines. Now US FDA is talking of these words: patient-centric medicine development, patient-centric manufacturing. And this is with the help of newer their thought process on quality management maturity. This is their latest thing which they have circulated by way of guideline, that quality management maturity for patient centric medicines. Thank you. Did I finish in time?
Without. Thank you very much, sir. May I request Sri Tapanda from West Bengal and Mohsin sir, the senior most officers from Karnataka, requested to present a memento to Sri Ranjit Barshikar. अभी पंडित जी का वक्त आ गया. Now may I request Shri N.K. Ahuja ji, former drug controller of Haryana, to deliver a lecture on Country Need DINOVA Drugs, Cosmetics and Medical Devices Act. I don't know what is DINOVA.
Thank you. Let me try to keep this session very interactive. Therefore, I request all the persons, all my colleagues sitting behind, they may please come. You are requested to come so that you can interact. These chairs are totally vacant, and you are very free to ask queries in between. Number one. Number two, reciprocating. I may also disturb by asking something which is known to you, just getting affirmation nod from you people. And my topic of the day is country needs de novo, a fresh, new Drugs, Cosmetic and Medical Devices Act. Why exactly it is required and why it's urgently required. Number one, this act is basically a pre-independence act. I'm not criticizing this word that this is since pre-independence act. Therefore, we require a de novo or a fresh drugs, cosmetic and medical devices act. But since this act was enacted by the British Parliament for their colony in India, that is why, and the conditions at that time in my country were altogether different from the conditions which now we actually have. And the conditions now are totally different from those conditions. At that time, when this act was enacted in 1940, we were not manufacturing any allopathic drug, almost. And we were dependent upon the drugs imported from other countries for our citizens. And there were few frauds at that time which forces them through Chopra committee and others. Then British Parliament, after taking 10 long years, then they enacted this act for us. And in this particularly act, you must have seen chapter 3 is for the import and chapter 4 is Dugal Sahab for manufacturing, say, clearly. And you must have seen that chapter 3 and chapter 4 number of sections are verbata copy. Section 9 to onward and then section 16 onward. These are cut copy paste in both these chapters. And chapter 3 was made a bit more stronger because Britishers never thought that this country, which is colony of their British Empire, they will grow up to this level that they will become pharmacy hub of the world. That is the one condition why we require a de novo drugs, cosmetic and medical devices act for our country. Secondly, at that time we were not having the highways. We were walking through certain small roads or pagdandis, you may call them. Now, every district is attached with one or two major highways. And when we have got the highways to run, then why we should not have a fantastic regulatory pathway to run so that the pharma industry of our country should run on that regulatory pathway, which should give them a red carpet, not the red tapeism. I'm using few words which may hurt, but these are the conditions. Then again we require a de novo ड्रग्स कॉस्मेटिक एंड मेडिकल डिवाइसेस एक्ट. जब हर चीज के लिए हम इतना स्मूथ हम चाहते हैं, टोल देने के लिए हम तैयार हैं, तो रेगुलेटरी पाथवे भी इतना स्मूथ क्यों ना हो? ऑल दोज हर्डल्स which the industry is feeling and the bugs which as a regulator we are feeling, these should be removed and this should be done like this. And I have added one word in this, and that word is medical devices. Presently, the medical devices are defined in the Act under Section 3B4 under the definition of drugs. Amit, can we safely say, because all the medical devices under the Act still defined under Section 3B4, that all devices are still drugs? No, but Act says like this. Don't we think that this is the right time to make certain changes in that? Then the question arises, when we have to make certain changes in that, then why we require a fresh de novo drugs, cosmetic and medical devices act? Why don't we go and adopt the system of amendments? Then again I'm coming back to the road. Road is 40 plus 60 plus 25, 85 years old regulatory pathway. And any amendment is just like a patchwork on that road. Am I correct? And when a road is not totally recarpeted or a fresh road is not made, can you expect a road function or provide the ease of travel to all the travelers with the patchworks? Answer comes no. We खड्डे पड़ेंगे, धक्के पड़ेंगे, और फिर झटके भी लगेंगे, और फिर कोई ट्रक अपसाइड डाउन पूरा उस खड्डे के अंदर चला जाएगा, जैसा अभी 3 दिन पहले हुआ. Similar types of things are happening as far as drug regulation is concerned with our act also. We came up with a new medical device rules 2017. Sir, as a general student of law, I know one thing. On the top is the constitution, then comes act, then comes rules, then comes any regulations, then comes orders, FAQs, circulars, guidelines, etc., etc. And this is the hierarchy of the legal system. Now, if any order passed by any authority is not having the enabling provision in the rule, then whether it is enforceable? Answer comes no. You are giving the answer, I am not giving the answer. Everybody is agree to this. If any order is not having the enabling provision in the rule, then that order is null and void. Same, if any rule is not having any enabling provision in the act, then that rule is null and void. And if any act is not having any enabling provision in the constitution, it is null and void. Maybe declared by the Supreme Court or the High Court, those who can interpret the law or can declare any law null and void ab initio. And the Supreme Court has dared to declare Electoral Bond Act, stating that this is against the transparency and against the right to information of the citizens. Similarly, many other laws declared null and void by the Honorable Supreme Court and rules daily. These things are happening. Why I am telling all these things? I have not shifted my concentration from this. We require a drugs, cosmetics, and medical device act de novo because, sir, medical devices rules 2017 enacted without making the desirable or required changes in the act. Do we have any separate chapter in the act itself for the medical devices? Answer comes no. When the answer comes no, then we find only one clause which I already referred to, and that clause is section 3b4, which again comes under the definition of drugs. Then Amit Duggalji has rightly answered, legally speaking, strictly legally speaking, these are still classified as drug. Now, to make it easy for you, say any offense is committed by any medical device manufacturer, then the penal provisions which are going to be attracted for launching a prosecution, from where we are going to take these penal provisions? Existing act. Then you are not treating it as a drug. If you are still treating it as a drug, then what benefit we have taken out of it? Can we add one chapter itself in the present act? If you say yes, sir, we can do it by way of amendment, then instead of making such a big patchwork in the act, why not we come up with a new de novo drugs, cosmetic, and medical devices act? Sir, we were importing drugs for our country. Now, I think this is shifted. We are exporting drugs to the other countries. We are called number of speakers. Everybody has said that we are the pharmacy hub of the world. Then pathway is required. Red carpet is required. We cannot compromise in this manner. Application of other laws. Total and total problem of the regulators as on date. Just one line, but I will take some time. Section 2, application of other laws is not barred, and the provisions of Drugs and Cosmetics Act are in addition to and not in derogation of. What is written? Dangerous Drug Act. Sir, we failed to even change this Dangerous Drugs Act 1930 is repealed 40 years back. Amit ji, this Dangerous Drug Act is repealed by NDPS Act, Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act. But we are still writing in the act, in the book, it is Dangerous Drugs Act. Because it is very tough to make changes in the act. It goes to the parliament. And we are taking benefit of one thing. If it is repealed, then it will be read as itself. that we will read it as a new Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act. Now, the problems of regulators in all these states, every shop, retail or wholesale, is being inspected by police, especially the Narcotic Control Bureau. Then what exactly we are doing? Again, one hard line I want to say. Duty is to be done by someone. If we as regulator fail to perform our duty, then please don't mind it. Work is required to be got done. If we are not doing it, then some other agency will come and do that particular work. Intoxication in the young generation in my country is increasing day by day. We cannot sit idle, closing our eyes. हमने आंखें बंद कर ली, बिल्ली चली गई. कबूतर के आंखें बंद करने से अगर बिल्ली चली जाती तो कबूतर मरता नहीं. Why I am saying this hard line? If we still keep our eyes and ears closed and we will not address this problem of my country, that my youth is going, moving for the intoxication, that too for the medical intoxication, and we are not controlling our retailers and wholesalers and shopkeepers and complete distribution network of these types of drugs, then mind it, the inspections of retail and wholesale units will be conducted by the narcotic control bureaus. Government has already made one NCOD. They are taking weekly or monthly meetings, and we are submitting reports. Now you can't say one policeman is if going for the inspection along with you that you are only for my security, you sit outside the shop and I will conduct the inspection of the shop. He says no. If you would be doing that, I should not have been told to go for this. Now you sit outside and I will conduct the inspection. That is police telling to the drug regulators. Now the question arises, what exactly De Novo Act will do? The relation between other laws should be defined very clearly and properly. We all, maybe the Narcotic Control Bureau, maybe the drug regulators, they should know what are the boundaries which they are having and which we are having. In two lines, I will explain it. NDPS Act against a retailer or wholesaler is attracted if he is violating the provisions of Drugs and Cosmetics Act. मैं इसको ऐसे समझाता हूं कि बरसात आ रही है, छाता लेकर के निकले. अगर छाते में छेद है तो पानी आएगा और मैं भीगूंगा. If I am contravening as a retailer or wholesaler the provisions of Drugs and Cosmetics Act, then the protection umbrella of Drugs and Cosmetics Act is not available to me and I am exposed to the rigors of NDPS Act. Am I right? Correct? Agreed? Everyone agreed? And it happens that now I am even not checking the conditions of license. That is again being checked by the police. Our Only thing is now, either I should start performing my duties, or a de novo act defining very clear boundaries between all these things should be there. One more act, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. We have honored our state drug controller Manmohan Taneja. Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act. Simple one, empty pill, combination of two drugs. And both individual drugs are covered under Schedule H. We consider that this MTP pill is a Schedule H drug. That's it. Not more than that, not less than that. But don't we think that this MTP pill, if given, may cause the medical termination of pregnancy, which is related to PCNP and DT Act? They are coming to you for MTP pill only after getting their sex of the fetus diagnosed as a male or female. If female, then they are taking this pill. That is the problem of northern states, Punjab, Haryana, West Rajasthan, West UP and North Rajasthan. This is not the problem of Bihar, Odisha or northeastern states. But this is the problem of these so-called developed states. Not allowing the girl child to take birth is the sign of development as considered by these northwest states. Shame situation for all of us. Again, when police or the health authorities, they start inspecting or sending the decoy customers to the retailers for checking whether they are selling the MTP pits without any prescription, and then taking actions or getting the FIRs registered, then again we are saying that retailers and wholesalers inspection was the prerogative of the drugs inspectors. How they are doing it? Again, I'm telling, if we are not going to perform our duties, then work is to be got done by the government through some other agency. Clearly, it's clear. Again, prescription of a medical practitioner. Under MTP Act, the qualification and experience of practitioner is much higher than the qualification and experience given under National Medical Council Act 2020, which was earlier called as Indian Medical Council Act 1956. Here it is MD, gynecologist. There it is plain MBBS. Then again, if it is just a Schedule H drug, which we generally consider, then can it be sold on the prescription of a registered medical practitioner who is only MBBS? Answer comes no. We get it passed through the Drug Consultative Committee also, changing the labeling provisions for these MTP kits, but not of much help, because finally we have to take the action. One more, then I will shift to next slide. COTPA, Vis-a-vis Drug Act. Nicotine, we may consider it as a drug. Since we are not properly controlling it, government put it under poison list. Now it is covered under poison list. Side effect of it, the states who have covered this nicotine as a poison, under the list of poisons at serial number 20 through their state amendments. Then the Nicorex, considered to be a drug of choice for cessation of cigarette smoking. Now it is regulated there, not easily available. Not easily available with the Panwadis. Again, since these are the problems which we are facing in our day to day working, we require a firm legal regulatory tool in our hands to control these things. That is why I am saying we require a de novo Drugs, Cosmetic and Medical Devices Act. So many things are there. Not only, but I'm stopping at least on this topic because I have to cover so many things, others also. Provisions for medical devices. X-ray machine is a medical device, sir. Ultrasound machine is a medical device. But still, 3B4, umbrella is drug. Now, if someone say that X-ray machine is a drug, anyone can laugh on him. But give the reading, make the interpretation, then you have no answer to it. Then why don't we require a de novo Drugs, Cosmetics and Medical Devices Act? We became pharmacy hub of the world. We have the capacity to become medical devices hub of the world. I remember one incident, Johnson and Johnson faulty implant case, handled finally by the Supreme Court, because as a regulator we failed to handle it. We are speaking in a family. We are a family of regulators. We should speak very clearly and boldly. We failed to manage that. Ultimately, Supreme Court made certain orders, made a committee who looked into that. I was member of that committee. Formula was given to give compensation to those. But we have not yet resolved the root cause of that problem. And the root cause of that problem is, at that time we were not having even the perfect regulations to regulate the medical devices. Why the regulations were required? Why we require a separate chapter under the act for this purpose? One reason I have already told: any rule made having no enabling provision in the act is void ab initio. It has one enabling provision, that is only 3B4, not more than that. But for the for making it sustainable, we require a complete chapter in the act. Otherwise, problems are bound to come and are coming. And we are not supporting the medical device industry. Sir, just one thing. Anything which I am going to purchase, I always want that should be a regulated. There must be a regulation for that. Then only I will purchase. If I don't have any regulation for devices, how can I expect that other countries in the world will purchase the medical devices manufactured in my country for their country? Just giving one example, cardiac stents. It was costing around 2 lakhs. Then one of the company, J Mitra, they started manufacturing few stents in India itself. They were the first pioneers in that. And there was a scientist called Dhal Saab. He was doing all that. But since there were no regulations, they were not able to export it. Don't we think that for want of regulations, we are not promoting a complete set of industry that is called medical device industry? New drugs. New drug and clinical trial rules 2019. Again, very senior regulators are sitting over here. Is there any definition of new drug given in the act? Not in the rules, I am asking. No. Don't we think all these FDCs and then Chennai case, then Delhi High Court cases, and every time whenever I try to control as a regulator, telling that these are irrational FDCs, and every time there are court cases. What's the reason behind that? What is the reason behind that? Because there is no legal clarity. And again, there is no separate chapter for new drugs and clinical trials and their authorities under the Act. Don't we think that we require a separate chapter for new drug and clinical trials in the Act itself, which should support the rules? After 2019, a high power delegation was sent to US. And that was for the first time when a country sent the delegation to market their regulations. That too in a developed country like USA. I happen to be the member of that delegation. But again, internally we were aware of this fact that these rules are not supported in the Act. And that is why we are facing so many challenges and number of court cases. This was a big reason. One more thing about the medical devices. Sir, medical devices divided into 4 categories, A, B, C, D. And a new concept of notified bodies is introduced. And definition of MDO is given in the rules. Is there anything given in the Act? No. Then concept of notified bodies. It looks very fantastic, sir. Really thankful that you came over here, because the things which I am discussing, Chandrasekhar sir, what few things I am uttering, ये मेरी व्यथा है. You must listen and convey these things to the DCGI sir. Yeah. Sir, 2 minute सुने आप, please. Sir, don't we think that we require a new drug and clinical trial rules? Don't we think that we have given this introduced the concept of notified bodies? My question, which was there in the Goa meeting, was also the same. It remains same. Can we delegate the statutory power to the private agencies? Don't you interpret it in this manner that we are raising our hand and saying that we are unable to perform our duty? But again, A is the low risk, B, C, and D. In C, we consider that our drug inspector is competent enough. And in A and B, we consider our drug inspector is not competent and notified body is required. Why? I don't know. Therefore, I again urge that we require a de novo Drugs, Cosmetic and Medical Devices Act. And this is nothing new. In 2021, after this corona, we got some time. Government gave some assignment to us. Dr. Chandrasekhar was also member of that committee, I think. Dr. Somani, Dr. Reddy, and interministerial committee was there. We used to sit in the night after 8 o'clock daily up to 12, 1, 2. It remained up to the Dr. Somani that for how much time he want us to keep. Kijiye, likhiye. That was submitted, but that has not seen the day of the light of the day. Cosmetics. Sir, I am speaking in front of my brothers. Sir, Cosmetics Rules 2020. And I still remember at DCC in 2021, just 1 hour was given to discuss the Cosmetic Rules 2020, and it was agreed upon by everyone that many mistakes have been committed, and this has been notified in haste. And still, in the Cosmetic Rules 2020, there is a no provision to issue a show cause notice after the inspection by the licensing authority to the cosmetic manufacturing firm for taking action. And this still remains as it is. And for the purpose of ease of doing business, it was mandated in the Cosmetic Rules 2020 that license will be granted without even conducting the inspection. Many firms took advantage of it, having no basic requirements, compliances, they started manufacturing. And no one was in a position to take action against them. Even in the residential areas, we took hold even in the military areas, Ambala, Kent. And these are the problems. And again, Cosmetic Rules 2020 says about Central Cosmetic Laboratory, different from Central Drug Laboratory. But under the Act, Section 25, completely, and definition of CDL. Is there any mention of CCL in the Act? Answer comes no. In rules it is CCL, but in the Act there is no mention of Central Cosmetic Laboratory. Can we make a rule without having the enabling provision in the Act, or without making a separate chapter in the Act for that purpose? This is just like taking shoes without having the foot. ऐसे ही लेके चलेगा, काटेगा काटेगा, देखिए करेगा कुछ तो करेगा, ले जाएगी. I'm not speaking outside. I will not speak outside like this, but among the regulators, I have the pain to speak. I was one of the member who continuously attended those meetings in the nights. But now when we ask this question, where is that? Answer is nothing. Sir, there is Section 7 called Drug Consultative Committee. This question was raised by me in the Goa. And this question is coming to everybody's mind. Oh, sir, नहीं sir, आएंगे, मैं लेके आऊंगा इनको. I will call, sir. Sir, In section 7, that is why I brought the book here also. It is clearly mentioned that one representative from each state and two representative from the CDSCO central government. They constitute the drug consultative committee without making any change in the act and the constitution of the drug consultative committee. I don't know how the how the total constitution has been changed with change of demography. Now, earlier, states were confident enough that they will be able to raise their problems in the DCC meetings, but now the demography is changed and every CDSCO zonal, subzonal officers and offices, they became the members of DCC without any change in the act. If it is required, then kindly come up with the de novo Drugs, Cosmetic and Medical Devices Act. Sir, one thing which always pains us, if a decision is taken by a committee who is not legally constituted, can that decision is legal? I always, I always worry where we are heading towards. Sir, Government of India came up with a new act in 2023, Jan Vishwas Act. This was considered as a game changer by the government before the general parliamentary elections. And through this, government told that we have the faith on our citizens, that is Jan Vishwas. हमें अपनी जनता पर विश्वास है और उसी जनता में फार्मा इंडस्ट्री भी आती है. And the objective of this act was decriminalization of the offenses. After thorough research, government decided to make many offenses compoundable. And under Drugs and Cosmetics Act, sir, section 27D was made compoundable under section 32B, compounding of certain offenses. Am I right? If I am right, then you must know, you must be aware of this hard fact that one line is written, कौन से offenses compoundable नहीं हो सकते, in which the punishment is only imprisonment or imprisonment with fine. With imprisonment only, that cannot be compounded, and with imprisonment and fine cannot be compounded. Only with fine can be compounded, imprisonment or fine can be compounded. Now my question is, under section 27D, what is the provision? Penal provision. Minimum sentence is 1 year. And then proviso is there. Magistrate can, citing the reasons, may pass a sentence less than 1 year, but not without imprisonment. Then again, my last question in this is, can section 27D be made compoundable? No, no. When the answer is no, then just 1 month before, This amendment came as Drugs and Cosmetics Act compounding of certain offenses amendment without making any change in the provision, penal provision of section 27D. How these two controversies can remain together, and nobody is taking call of it. That is why I am telling, instead of doing patchwork again and again here and there, making mistakes like in cosmetic rules, like in Jan Vishwas Act, like making NDCT rules without having separate chapter of new drugs and clinical trials in the act, without making any chapter in the medical devices in the act, making rules, medical devices rules 2017, and then transferring the statutory power of inspection to the notified bodies, keeping no faith on the inspectors. That is why I am saying we require a de novo Drugs, Cosmetic and Medical Devices Act. Sir, power of arrest. Law is dynamic, not a static thing. And law became dynamic by the interpretation given by the Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Ashok Kumar versus Union of India, and then entrusted the drug inspectors that they will arrest the accused persons who are committing offenses under Drugs and Cosmetics Act. So don't we think that we require certain regulation, certain guidelines on this for our inspectorate staff? Giving power without having adequate infrastructure. घर बैठा करके खाना खिलाना क्या? Even after that, inspectors are doing their duty. They are arresting them. Telangana has done fantastic work. Haryana has done good work. Punjab is doing. Maharashtra has done few arrests. But without the proper legal tool in our hand, whether we are in a position to perform our duty? Answer is no. When answer is no, then why don't we say that we require a de novo Drugs, Cosmetic and Medical Devices Act? Last. Guidelines from DCGI. Sir, please convey this. One guideline came: whenever a drug is will be declared NSQ, it will be deemed to be suspended from that day onward. Why we forget law of natural justice? Can we take any action without giving him an opportunity of being heard or being showcased? What Rule 85(2) says, after giving an opportunity of being showcased, it is clearly mentioned. Then how can we take action without giving a person an opportunity? We were traveling together, Dr. Koteshwar Rao and myself, when this was there. Retesting also, challenge in 25(4). Then 1127-page document as a guiding document for the regulators. Sir, whether that guidance document is having the enabling provisions in the rules. When we go through that, that is why we say that we require a de novo Drugs, Cosmetic and Medical Devices Act. Harmonization. In absence of all these things, provisions, every state is doing work as per their own guidelines, as per their will and wish. And the CDSCO Central Drugs Standard Control Organization. Full name is this Standard Control, and harmonization was one of the major duty which is totally missing. Sir, risk based inspection. On the face of it, we think it is fantastic. It will lead to the quality. But 2 years gone, revised tool and provisions are in place for major industries. MSME is struggling for that. Just let me know from the data whether we reduced this NSQ ratio. Sir, उस पर मैं अभी बात नहीं करूंगा. It will take much of the time. Count. Nomenclature. Our regulatory state hierarchy. Everybody is having their own set of nomenclature. Inspector of drugs in Uttar Pradesh still, drug control officers in Haryana, senior drug control officers in Haryana, ZLA in Punjab, zonal licensing authority, without giving them the promotion. FSSA, Food Standard and Safety Act. They made these things harmonized as far as nomenclature and pay scales are concerned in the act itself. Our brothers in Chhattisgarh, they are still struggling and they are still class 3 employees. Just asking one more question from you. Can class 3 employee non-gazetted can enforce DMROA, Drugs and Magic Remedies Objectionable Advertisement Act? Answer is no. Am I right? Can non-gazetted drug inspector enforce the provisions of drug price control order? Again, answer comes no. Then why it is not being harmonized, and why the stand is not taken with such strong foot in these cases? After all, you have to equip your regulatory staff. Can't that is there in the FSSA Act itself. With the post, there is a post of clerk, driver, so and so, so and so. Now the posts of drug inspectors advertised, they came, they are taken without having the posts of supporting staff of clerks, assistants, vehicle and drivers. Can't it be taken and included in the Act itself so that nobody can dare to do this? Can a drug inspector is inspector, officer and PN himself, clerk. Everything he is one man army, that's it. पानी भी खुद पिएगा, फाइल भी खुद उठाएगा, फाइल पर लिखेगा भी खुद, सैंपल डिस्पैच करके रजिस्ट्री कराने भी खुद जाएगा. ऑफिस भी खुद खोलेगा सुबह आकर के. अगर उसको गंदा लग रहा है तो सफाई भी खुद करेगा. That is the condition which is happening with us. And we are, when going to the states, we are talking on these subjects. Rightly summarized, we are talking of the life of our regulators, so that we can, as a regulator, save the life of the patients by providing them the safe medicines. That is possible only if we are safe. We require a legal network, legal provisions, De Novo Drugs, Cosmetics and Medical Devices Act, to save our regulators. There is no harmonization in pay scales, other facilities. There is no harmonization in organizational chart. Under revised dual M, there is no promotional avenue for the drug inspector since for so many years together. And even after 8 years when mandatory, क्या देते हैं हम देते हैं ना, तो वो भी नहीं है. मिलता है क्या? छोड़िए प्रमोशन तो तब देंगे, पे ही देते हैं कुछ, वो भी नहीं. We are moving from generic to innovation. Is there anything we have made under the law to come to take everybody under one stage? Just make me one hand reason so that I will close because I am already, it's okay. Regulatory pathway is required from for quantity to quality, quality by design, and for enforcement and implementation of
सर
provisions of
आपने
revised
ट्रांस
Schedule
में
M.
गया, इधर नहीं देख रहा है, आप ट्रांस में गया.
It's over.
I request Siri get it. This is the problem with him. Wherever I'll go, I have to लकड़ी पकड़ के उधर करना पड़ता है, नहीं तो छोड़ता भी नहीं. Please come, Siri get it. And thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And one important, हाँ किताब इधर है sir. One important announcement, please. There will be a special session now on motivational speaker, the great our fellow pharmacist, Shri Kamlesh D. Patel ji,